Hello, this is Kelly again, and I'm going to be working on making this armature. Alright, so to refresh your memory, I'm making a portrait bust larger than life. That's not specified, but if you make a portrait the size of the person, it's going to seem smaller when it bronze shrinks, but also just to see somebody my own size is not really making an impression. So, because my board is long and narrow this way, I want the shoulders to go this way because I need room to make the print, the mold later, the stampa. And I kind of wanted his head tilted a little bit in this direction because I think it's a little more interesting than just flat, straight on, dead boring. And also a lot of the photos that I have to work from this man, he's kind of turning his head a lot. So, alright, so you saw me use the spray foam. It's pretty hard now, but you can see it's not got the form of the head, and it's not enough really to save a whole lot of material. So this is the extra that I poured out onto a sheet of plastic, and this little saw I paid about $1 for, and now I want to sort of use it, because what else am I going to do with this? I mean, I can use it for packing stuff, but you've seen my video on packing sculpture. Oh, that's interesting. So I was hoping the saw would be easy, but with this piece here, it's not. I need a different saw that doesn't have this part get in the way. But, look at, there we go. Now it'll come out. What adventures I've had with the mechanic lately. Alright, let's see if we can do it this way. Maybe use this. The key is you want to use a material that doesn't cost so much because it's a one-shot deal kind of thing, but there we go. Oops. The plastilina, the wax-based clay that I'm going to use for this, it doesn't need to be so much. Now this is going to start looking ridiculous. Little wings on him, but what I want to do is fix a little bit of this stuff. I might just cut a little bit out here. Now this is not exactly I don't know what I thought I was buying that for. I just saw it with a cheap price and thought, oh, that could come in handy. Sometimes I think I just like tools. You know, it's fun walking into a tool shop. Okay. So the point I'm going to try to do is to build up this shoulder stuff enough that I can actually start sculpting. But I'm going to tie it around with this little thin wire you saw me using last time, and then I'm going to spray stuff. And I assume that once the spray touches this and touches that, and look at all the tiny little holes. I mean, that's a lot of tooth to have to spray in there and grip onto. So that is kind of my hope at this point, to try to do something like that. Now, again, I'm trying to work with making the width of the shoulders here a little bit broad, more broad shoulders. I'm not going to show the whole shoulders on him because it's not necessary for this, but alright, so I'll take my trusty wire. The thing about the wire is I know that I'm probably in the process of this. I'm going to cut into this armature here, but at this point I don't exactly know where I want to cut off the shoulders and that kind of thing. So I just know that I want to have something, but I don't quite, a lot of it's going to come along as it comes along. But the thing is, if I cut through the wire, I really don't want to cut through the wire if I can help it. I prefer to cut just foam and leave the wire as it goes. So I want to put minimal wire on here, and I only really need enough just to help this stuff stick around. So let me go. I just tied the most simple thing in the back here. Can you see that? And again, I don't. You see, all I'm trying to do is get this stuff close enough. I can always stick that in there. This is a different measure. I'm going to tighten this up a bit. Okay. I'm going to use some of this on the base. Alright, that was his face, so I think I may have more coming down for the chest this way. So I'm going to go ahead and put this piece here in the front and just continue this around for a bit. Should probably cut that at the same time and let the wire go around that too. So I'm going to see. I'm sure that there are no doubt easier ways to do this. I just chose the Kelly way. And sometimes I think I do stuff purely out of curiosity. And sometimes I think I do stuff purely because I want to make my life difficult. I'm just sort of kidding on that, except kind of not. Anyway, that's a little bit funny. That's a little bit funny. Keep it inside. Not one of those who can easily hide. It's amazing I get anything done. Okay, I might have had all of that I can stand. I'll connect this up to the rest of this. That's what I like about thin wire. It's so malleable. Kind of actually want the wire to be bendable in case I want to push it back down into there. You see, I'm not that precise because I know that once I start to spray stuff, I really don't need the wire at that point. I suppose I could cut it off, but I don't really want to go that far either. Alright, so for now, let me get rid of that. Get rid of this. This doesn't seem to work as a cutting tool. Put that back with the clay. Alright, I still have very little dimension. Put all that. Because I want to use all this material, because one, what else am I going to do with it? Put that there. And let's remember, gee, it's so hard to tell where the face is. Okay, I want the face to go out this way. Right now it sort of looks like he's lying backwards. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I have a head here, kind of, but I want to put brains in the back here and add some more, you know, give him a face, and I'll carve the profile. Because if you look at our chest, we usually have a chest is coming out below us, and if I turn the head this way, you see my face is going to have the chest come down here. So I really want the chest to be coming out a little bit more further in front than his face does. And also with a bust, a lot of times you can go in this way, and I don't want to go in beyond the pipe because that would be sort of counterproductive to what I was doing. But all right, so just tuck that in there, tuck this. I don't want to tuck it into all the places for the tooth, but there's plenty of tooth here for the new foam to grab onto. All right, I'll worry about cleaning up this stuff later. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video, go get the foam, shake it up a bit, and get it ready to go, and then we're going to go, okay? Okay, I made a lot of shaking, and taking that thing off of there. Oh no, I didn't. I always have a problem opening this. That's not what I intended to do. Okay. And now I might be screwed, huh? I was supposed to... I should have done that before the video so I didn't show you what an idiot I did. The last bottle I opened up right away, and this one I broke it right away. This is probably one reason I like to do videos, because I show how silly I am. Let's put the plastic together to recycle that. Oh, look at there. I bet those are gloves. Because what else could they be? That's sweet, but anyway, I'll look at that later. You can't drink and shake at the same time. Okay, continue with this. I don't need this anymore. In a safe place. Okay. That's the little plastic trigger gun they give you with the pointer. Now, again, as I mentioned in the other video, this is foam that's designed to be insulation between your windows and walls and things like that for the outside of the house. I mean, you put it on the inside, I think, but I removed all my jewelry, which I only wear one ring usually, but in case I would have had more. I put on my nicest clothes, because last time I actually got some on my sweater when I was trying to walk out the door to go to the city. All right, so let's start my masterpiece. To turn this all the way until you can tell when it cuts in and gets to the foam. It's just like those things of cream and gel and things you have to poke through to get there. The instructions say that you can leave this in a cool, dry place and it'll be good for up to 18 months once you buy the bottle. You don't know how long the bottle's been staying in the store, so I never worry about that sort of thing. I tend to, once I open one, I use it all the way, even if it's just to spray a bunch on that piece of plastic like what I did for these wings here. Don't know why. I thought I would have heard something. Oh. I thought it would be more obvious than that. All right, I'm going to stop at the top because, gravity works that way. And I'm going to start up here, building up a base. I don't want to go higher because I don't think I need to be much taller. Now the first thing you can do, I'm sort of spraying into these crevices to get the stuff connecting, because the wet will hopefully add on to the dry. Capisce? Now, I want to remember this stuff expands, but the fact is it doesn't really expand as much as my imagination think it's going to, because, let's face it, they created it for insulin, and most people aren't going to know how to spray the thinnest spot. Like that. Now let's give them some brains, meaning the roundest part and the widest part of the head is towards the back. You can see a little bit of my metal armature that I put in there to give some teeth to the first layer. something to grip. When I thought about this in hindsight, I thought it might have been smarter for me to do this horizontally and do like I did for the stone for the rocks towers that I built, pushing a hole into a sandbox basically, making the shape of the form of the thing I wanted, and then spray this in there. And then I could have maybe done something different, but, you know, it's too late for that. It was convenient before because my landlord had these buckets of sort of a sandy gravel, and that's what I used temporarily while he had them stored out here on the street. But I didn't have those now, so where I would get a sandbox, I don't know. Which might have had something to do with why I didn't think to do it that way. Now, you can't see this from the point of view where you are, but I'm trying to put sort of in a profile to make sure I don't get these, you know, because you saw once it's hardened like this, it's kind of a pain to get it into the shape that you want. And I don't want to use up too much of my clay trying to fill up spaces I've missed or haven't cut off too much and then having all this dry stuff. Okay, so I think he needs more frontal lobe up here. I want to leave this because once it starts getting heavy, it's going to start falling, and that's the opposite of what I want. So now I'm going to build up his chest. I haven't forgotten that he's got a neck. I just, you know, just to put that out there. The thing is with this, I would rather have more of this than less because I can carve into it. Because to build up with the clay, you know, I say I'm a sculptor and I love to work with marble, but the thing is, this is an additive process, and modeling you can go back and forth, take off, remove and stuff. I'm used to stone now. I stopped doing bronze because it's expensive. I just decided I need to sell the bronzes I have to fund the other bronze, any other new creations. But in the end, I just thought, let me just carve in stone. Because the market has changed, my life has changed. Okay. Alright, so he's kind of got a chest going there. Again, this is going to start getting heavy. So I want to move to a different section. I don't know if you can see or not, but this is starting to get a little hard there, which is what I really, really do want. Alright, so going to the back here, let's put this where you can see it. Now, my main thing with the back here, because I expect maybe I'll have a thinner back, is for right now, I want something to join with the old foam so that it sort of becomes all one piece. Then, if I cut it off, I won't have these little loose things hanging around. I'll have, you know, build out some shoulder width here. Because this should be pretty strong to support the weight of the stuff that's going to go on top of it. Now, I don't really want to forget that he's got a neck, so I'm going to break off that piece here. Put this over here instead. It's important to have necks. I mean, I see the pictures of him and it looks like he's got a pretty good neck, but I don't want to make a football neck, which is, I think, a slang for meaning that your head goes straight into your body cavity, and that's not necessarily true for even the muscular guys. Aren't necessarily like that. Okay. So again, it's getting a little too droopy. This is the problem I have with doing one spray thing like this, is that it seems like I would like to wait when I've only used about a half or 2/3 of the thing. Let's see if I can put a little more. Now, the head is an egg shape, with the widest part towards the back of the head, and it tapers down to the chin. So if this is the point of your egg, and I'm sort of trying to keep that in mind as I do this. But you see how it's sticking to my gloves now? I'm kind of destroying it when I do this. So in some ways it's better for me to just let this set up at this point, and then later come in and cut down. See, I'll be cutting this off, I'm pretty sure, for his neck. So let me come back down here. Okay, you're not quite empty. I'd like to use all this up if I can. Give him some more brains in the back. This is what happens then. The air comes out and then it destroys some of the wet stuff I was putting on. That's not good. Kind of cool sound effects, huh? It reminds me of fighter jet's plate taking off. That's because of my dad, I'm sure. Okay. Oh Lord, I see a little hole in there. Let's fill up his neck there. Because that's also a spot that I know is not going to be too heavy. So I'm looking at profile here. I really want a little bit more in the chest here, but again, this is where it's all too wet, and I would prefer to have that a little more dry. I just honestly don't know how much time I have before this thing is finished. And also I don't want it to fall off, because then I have a serious problem. Not serious, nothing is grave. Okay, pull this off because it's not a neck. Put it on the back of his head here. Oh, all of that's wet, so it's really difficult to add something to it when it's wet. Because I guess maybe it's like cotton candy. It doesn't really look like a profile to me. This is how you build aliens. Sort of filling in holes here. You'll have an ear somewhere in that zone, so I don't feel so bad with cutting into that. Let's pull this here, because I might end up putting his head taller to give him room to have a neck for the shoulders to have some substance. Can you see it's starting to sort of look like a person? Maybe that's not a nice thing to say, because it's sort of blobby. I measured my landlord's body, and then I was sort of making the measurements mathematically to how much to enlarge. He needs some more brains, doesn't he? See, I'm coming to the end here, but it's okay if it works. This stuff cost $8.50 and euro, and I had 2 bottles of this. The wire I've had for years. Don't use it all that often, but it comes in handy. So, and I have a tendency to hoard things because you never know when you're going to use something. And also because I live remote, that I really hate going to the city for just one reason. But that's me, because I like my work and I don't like to be distracted by things. And as the older I get, the more I find my brain gets distracted quite easily. Alright, I can maybe give him some more chest, but you see I'm a little worried this is starting to fall. Gravity is hitting him just like it does the gals. Capiche. Alright, so it looks like if that's going to fall, I might be better off to not. See, you see, you know when you've done too much, because it starts to get that, as soon as you touch it, you've made a problem. And that means leave the problems alone unless you really, really, really have to do something else. So let me give my last look here. I'm just really afraid to touch that. It's too wet, it's too heavy. I think it's gone into here enough. And on the back, I think the back is going to be hollow enough. And again, I'm having the same kind of problem there. Maybe that's a little piece I can stick in, but you know, it's kind of, anyway, and there's my pole right there, I can see. I really want a little bit more here. Maybe I can add some more here. And then be done with it. So at least this is underneath the other stuff. Alright, so now I'm just going to spray the rest of the foam here out of the bottle. Put that bottle in the piece of plastic I have sitting on the floor waiting for it. And whatever I get out of it, I get out of it. Okay. There's a point to being tight, and then there's a point to being, you know, and this whole system is not exactly environmentally friendly, is it? Alright. I'm just going to let that go so I can have time to move this stuff around before it's gone. So I'm done with this. Get it out of the way. Oh, no! I just lost my chest here. Slowly like a landfall. Wonder if I can keep my hand here. Now on this side, I want to move this. Tuck it into there at the base, because I know I'm going to have the thing touching the ground. I mean, you know, the sculpture has to touch the wood base. All of this stuff will be carved off later. I'll tuck that up under there. I don't know if I can hold on to this to keep it long enough for it to sort of set. This is a mess. This is coming too far in front, I think. I feel like I'm working with cake frosting, except mixed with cotton candy. I don't know why this method's I find it so enjoyable, probably just because it's completely different from everything else I do. Okay. I don't worry too much about this surface being so because basically that's tooth for my clay. On the other hand, I really don't like too many undercuts, because when it's over, I want to recoup my clay as much as physically possible. And so I don't really want these deep holes in there, but I can fill those in with wax, cheap candle wax, you know, the white kind stuff. So that's what I'll do. All right, so stay. I need to stop touching you, don't I? Yeah, I can see, baby, you're gonna go and just let me be. Stick that in there if I can. Again, I'm afraid to make problems at this point. And yet, I say that, and then I do it anyway. I want to fix that. I think that's dry and this is wet, so I want to make sure there's good adhesion there, because otherwise it's going to be annoying. Okay, these are probably cut off, depending on where the... Alright, so standing back, I'm looking at my profile. I've got a big lump in the back here that I don't think is going to be here, although he's going to have nice broad shoulders, so let me just spread this out, because I don't want a breast on the back. That would be kind of weird. You know? See, look at this. It's just too crazy. There are other foams. I mean, when I was in Texas, I have a big block. I had these big blocks of foams that I bought because I wanted to enlarge my sculptures. And I wanted to do the... John built an enlarging and reduction machine. And he's brilliant because he used things like bicycle chains and just wood and steel. And it was wonderful. He did some enlargements and cut it out of the foam manually instead of doing the electronic scanning, because we didn't have that technology and nor the money. They were trying to get my business, but you know, I find my life as an artist, I really have to control what I spend versus trying to live my life, because debt gives too much stress and I'm not happy with anything. Okay. I'm afraid to spin it around anymore to show you what she looks like, but maybe I'll put some still photos into this. But I'm kind of happy with how it's going. So here it is, and now I take off the gloves, and then I go do other projects. Like my bathroom is being restored in a few days, and so I have to get all of my art hanging in the corridor out, also in the room next to the bathroom, because I don't know what their hammering is going to do to things, and I don't know how much dust is going to go away. Hey, I only got one piece on myself. That's pretty good. It comes off skin much easier than it comes out of fabric. Okay, da-da-da-da, Stuart is started to happen. So here you can see the spray foam that I just finished using. Those are the gloves that are down below there. And the butternut squash that my neighbor gave me. So here he is. These are sort of shoulder starting, and that's a big head. It's a big head, but I'll probably have to cut down some to give him a neck, you know. So this is how it looks like in the end. Okay, I don't know if you recognize that as a person, but I see it coming along. I have to wait a while. I usually like to wait 24 hours before this dries so that I can start using it. Okay? All right. And this is my next video. Okay, so there you've seen that I've hung a board of sorts underneath my canvas with the photos of the model, and this is the piece here. Sadly, the model has died some time ago, and this is a commemorative to remember the uncle. Ciao, ciao.